Hey everyone, what's the crack? Lawrence here with the Moza CRP2 pedals. You guys know I love a 3-pedal set. Pedal reviews are some of my favorite reviews, even though they're the most intensive and complex. Of course, this is only a 2-pedal set, so I got the 3rd pedal as well. I'm gonna kick the crap out of this. Let's do this. Okay, so let's throw the clutch over here for a sec and let's get this out of the box. Now this is a pretty neat box for a pedal set. There's going to be a minimal amount of installation involved or of assembly. I like the way they show kind of the ecosystems as well. They've got the Moza R21 and the VGS steering wheel, both of which I have here, and I have a long-term review coming on both of those very, very soon. So excited about these pedals though. You will have seen as well that they have recently announced the force feedback pedals. Force feedback pedals are where the future is. Apparently this is a kind of a precursor to that, and it looks like you might be able to retrofit and reuse some of these components. We don't know the exact details of that yet, but this is a nice package, very just clean Moza typical packaging. And let's get these out. So as we've kind of come to expect from a lot of these products, a lot of these brands, we've got a lot of foam in here. I'm not a huge fan of this foam, but it is effective and it's cheap for them. So it would be nice if they used something that was, you know, biodegradable or whatever. But that's an aside. It's all about keeping their costs down and protecting the product, I'd say. That's a little bit stuck in there. Come on. What are you stuck on? There we go. There's something still inside in that box. There we go. A cable fell out. Let's get that box out of the way. So that's a little bit more difficult to than a box that would open, you know, upwards like that. So it's a little bit cramped in there. Seeing as that cable fell out, let's have a look at it. I'm guessing it's just a simple, yeah, it's a simple USB A to B cable with a little ferrite core on it, and some foam here. We've got a user manual and stickers, so nothing too special or interesting there, I think. The pedal plate is first, which is very interesting. So this is the pedal plate. Let's get that out here. So that's nice. Nice designs on it. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so the control box is built in, which is nice. So we've got the clutch, brake, load cell, and throttle. Interesting that there's brake and load cell. So we'll figure all that out. It looks pretty strong. There's a bit of weight in it, but not a crazy amount of weight either. And we've got a lovely little carbon fiber footrest here. That doesn't make it any more comfortable or whatever. It is nice and slidey, but I guess maybe it's a little bit less harsh than straight onto the aluminium, but very little difference. And that looks nice. I think that looks very, very tidy. All of these holes as well are threaded. Actually, I lie. These ones are threaded. These ones are threaded. These ones are not threaded, and these ones are threaded once again. And we've got 4 main anchor points for your pedals, for your pedal mounting to your rig as well. So let's put that off to the side just over here. Get rid of this foam. And now this is nicely packaged here. We've got these signature Moza bags. I don't know which pedal I'm after grabbing here. Now these bags don't have the Moza branding on them, but they do a good job of dust protecting and that. That looks to me like the throttle. Oh no, that's the brake, I'd say. That is the brake. And we've got 2 cables coming off the brake. Okay, this answers my question. 2 cables coming off here. One says load cell on it. The other one says brake. So we probably have the option of using a potentiometer or the load cell here. Yeah, we see one of the cables goes into the back here, so there's a load cell in there, and the other one goes in here, which is a simple Hall effects sensor here, not a potentiometer. So very, very simple. That just measures the angle of deflection, whereas this measures the amount of force. It's not technically the amount of force, it's a minimal amount of movement that it translates to a voltage. So that's what's happening there. It's cool that we're seeing both of those now. Some people prefer the Hall effect sensors to the load cell. Personally, it's all about how the brake feels. Once the brake feels predictable, then I'm okay with how it's measured. For all I care, there's, you know, a monkey inside the pedal that's doing everything. I don't care what the technology is inside it, as long as it gives me that physical feedback of that I know exactly where the positions are that I need to be at. This is the other pedal then. We've got a throttle. Those face plates are really nice. There's a lovely kind of a honeycomb type of an effect on it. Not too harsh, but still slightly grippy. We've got interesting adjustment at the front of these pedals. So you can see that there. That will allow us to, I'm not actually sure what that adjustment is for. We will figure all that out. I'm not going to be adjusting things before I put them on the rig. I like to run things in their default configuration as they come from the factory. We see some adjustment here in the bump stop for the pedals. So if you want less travel, now that's unusual to see on a brake, but it is welcome because some people want the end of their brake to be relative. They don't want the pedal to travel very far. So they might want a light pedal that doesn't travel all the way down to the floor, because they're sim racing, right? You're not actually moving mechanical parts. You might just want to be very effective at braking. So when a brake feels good over a short distance, you can make this a shorter distance. Usually how you do that is have extra hard elastomers that make it seem like a solid wall, but it's nice to see an actual bump stop, and I like when pedals do that. So that's cool. What else have we got here? Oh, they've included some tools. That's kind of nice. Let's get this one out. The only other brand that I've seen do this has been Asetek. So that's quite welcoming, quite welcome even. And we've got a load of hardware in here. Now it's a shame you can't like see into it and see what the hardware is. We've got loads of bolts. We've got more Allen keys in there. So it's interesting that they chose this style of Allen key for one thing, but they didn't make a second one like this. Maybe it's because you need extra reach. I don't know. We'll figure all that out. But usually a standard, very normal Allen key does the trick. And what's in here? Okay, this is our little cable for hooking it up directly to a base if we're running a Moza base. Now, I will not be running a Moza base with this, but I trust that all of that works because it has worked for me in the past with other devices. And here we go. Okay. So we see Moza inspired by Simagic, maybe. Simagic were the first ones that I have seen, that I've used, that use these little rubberized pucks for resistance. I'm not mad about them, to be honest. I'm not. I prefer elastomers. I even prefer those springs that they have on the P2000s. I'm not 100% sold on these, but look, it all depends on the pedals, how they actually perform with it. And we've got a spare spring here as well. So I'm guessing there's a spring inside in the throttle that doesn't have any of these elastomers in there. So that's good. That's our little performance kit, if you will. Still have one more heavy thing in here. Okay, what is that? This looks like a part of the base plate. Okay, this is our little heel rest. That's quite nice. Let's see where that fits in. Okay, that will fit on the front here. I think that's quite nice. I think that's very stylish. That's a nice looking base plate, guys. Very esports, very, I think that is bang on trend. That would look at home on any rig. This would even look very at home on a very, very high end rig or low end rig. They haven't put grips on the bottom of these. These pedals are meant to be used with a solid rig, something that you can actually mount this to. So we've got some extra threaded holes down here, maybe for extra mounting points if you're mounting from the bottom up. Let's mock this up very quickly and see what it's going to look like. So the brake will go on the left. Oh, this is for the cables, I'm guessing, this channel. That's a nice touch. Excellent, that they fit exactly there. So what we see here is we don't have any forward and backward movement with those pedals. So some base plates do give you that, which is nice. Now they've got the, yeah, that's actually interesting. We've got very set spacing, which people will like as well, because it means that you can't accidentally mount your pedals at a non-90 degree. You know, they have to be perfectly parallel. So that's nice. And you can move them over. And of course, we're going for the clutch as well. So we're going to have the brake somewhat in the middle. But what... Okay, so this stopper, that determines the travel. So can I... That's interesting. I can't move that back any further than this. So I can't... So with a lot of pedal sets, what I'm getting at here, with a lot of pedal sets, you've got forward and back movement. So what that means is that you can... It depends on your driving style, depends on how hard your brake is and stuff, but especially for heel toe, you might want to have your brake in front of your throttle, because when you're pressing that brake, you might want to just move your heel over and just blip that throttle. If they're at the same height, what happens is, or at the same level, what happens is you could press the brake and it might be back here, but then if you want to heel toe, you kind of have to reach back for the faceplate of the brake, of the throttle. So there are little things to consider. I'm going to see if that's an issue when I'm actually using these, because I don't want to pre-diagnose issues. There is such thing as too much adjustability. So please bear that in mind. Just because a product doesn't have a certain adjustability doesn't mean that it's inferior. It might actually mean that it just doesn't need that adjustability. And things that can compensate for that heel toe is nice rounded edges, or just robust pedal plates that can do with a little bit of, you know, sidewards abuse or whatever. So we'll figure all that out. Let's put this to the side just a moment, and we'll do the formality here of getting the clutch pedal out. I think that this is going to be a super simple, very straightforward, you know, not much different to what we've seen. I expect a cable in here. I expect some bolts. I expect a lot of foam. And I expect one of those bags just for consistency. So let's see if I'm right. We've got some foam. We've got a bag. We've got a pedal that will most likely be almost indistinguishable from the throttle. Oh, it does look slightly different. It's not got one of those chambers on it, which is fine. And it's got a fairly obvious cantilever type. Okay, that's interesting. That feels very binary. And it's very noisy. I am not sure how that will go. But anyway, let's pull out these. We've got a spare little spring in here as well, which I don't know, is it thinner? Looks to be slightly thinner than the one that's on it. And we've got some bolts in there as well. Let's put them over here. Nothing else left in there. I was right. And let's get these over here again. And then the clutch is going to be over here. So interestingly, the cable terminates on... That's interesting. So the cable is on the outside, on this side, not on the... I would have thought that it would be nicely hidden maybe on the inside here, because the clutch is always going to be on the left, right? So I would have thought that it might be here. Maybe it's too close to this one. Maybe they're afraid of the magnets interfering. That's probably what it is. So let's get this bolted up and let's get them on the rig. So here we are in the rig. I've installed them. I had a little bit of an issue installing, to be honest. Those bolt holes are at the extreme four corners of a really, really large base plate. And I actually was expecting better bolt holes into a profile rig. They need to kind of come up from, or come down from above. There are some, like if you have one of those plates, there are some mounting holes that are threaded that you can go into, but you obviously can't do that. This is the ASR Pro rig, which supports any pedal set that I've put on it so far. The P1X pedal plate was quite a bit bigger, so maybe that wouldn't have had as many problems, but this, yeah, it was a bit of a struggle. So you might have seen in the time lapse, I'll just overlay it here as well. I did a little kind of a custom mounting solution here. I hope it holds. I used the channel for the cables to and some spacers just to kind of keep that all in place. Hopefully it won't travel, it won't move. I've not used the pedals yet. I put the throttle a little bit close to the brake. If I put it all the way over to the right, I was thinking it might just be a little bit far away from the brake. So I think this is a pretty decent layout. I do a lot of formula driving, so having the throttle and the brake a little bit more towards the center, it's just a little bit less strain on my knees. I don't know if any of you have ever gotten strain on your knees from the pedals just being way too far over to one side if you're running a clutch as well. But this is kind of the way that I run them. Just having a quick press now. The clutch actually feels a lot better than I thought it did. When I had it on the bench, it was very clicky. It felt very cheap. This feels fine. I would be happy for sim racing and the current implementation of clutches in sim racing. That's more than good. I can't see myself needing any adjustment on that. Obviously, for the purposes of my long-term review, I will be doing some adjustment, whatever adjustment is available, but there's a nice throw on that, there's a nice feel to that, and I can feel exactly what's happening. It could be a little bit heavier, maybe, but that's, you know, that's not, I don't know, not a big deal anyway. The throttle has a decent weight. It's definitely a lot heavier than a lot of other throttles, so that's good. They've put some attention into that. I am wearing shoes, which automatically makes the pedals feel a little bit lighter than they would be. I test these with shoes and without shoes. For the purposes of this video, it's just nicer to have shoes on. Just a little bit. Some people are completely grossed out by feet, so, and I can understand that. There is a little thing on the back of the pedal of the throttle, which I think allows you to tighten up that pedal a lot. But again, out of the box, things are looking good here, guys. The clutch feels good. The throttle feels good. I think they're quite nice. Let's go for the brake. Okay, so it's a little bit spongy. There's quite a lot of travel before we get that big weight. So we can see it's traveling quite a bit there. It all depends how it goes in game, but I feel... So I said to you guys when I was unboxing these, those little pucks, those little... I'm not a big fan of them. I think they give a little bit of a, I don't know, a spongy feel. Now, because I had them with the P1000, and even though I was able to drive well with the P1000, it's just not my favorite. It's not my favorite brake feel. It didn't necessarily make me slower, but it just wasn't as pleasant to use. And I fear that I might be facing that again here. I don't know. This is its default form. I will be adjusting it for the overall review, but so far, not bad. The little plate for my heels, fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. That is exactly where I need it to be. I wonder how that carbon fiber rest is going to hold up over time. I wonder, is that going to scratch? Carbon fiber always scratches because there's like a lacquer on it. So if I'm constantly on that with my feet and if there's dirt on it, and dirt kind of tends to, you know, build up around pedals, so I'll be, every time I move my feet, I'll be just scratching that surface ever so slightly. But it looks great. I mean, I would even go as far as to say I would love if that Moza Racing logo on the little heel plate, I'd love if that was lit up, even ever so slightly. I think that would really kind of be super nice. I think they have a good opportunity for a lighting kit. I know it's not important to many people, but people put so much effort into their rigs and that. I think SimMagic really nailed that with a little bit of LED Now, maybe that's, you know, not appealing for a lot of people, but I would love it at least as an available extra. The pedals feel pretty solidly mounted, so let's hop into the game and see if we can see what kind of performance they give. So we'll have a super quick look at the software here. Typical Moza one-click activation. I'm just going to click it. I've got a lot of devices activated here. I've actually got the shifter and handbrake hooked up as well. One-click activation should all be perfectly fine. Finish. I should update Moza Pit House. Let me just do that, seeing as I'm using a new product that just was released. And there we go. We'll run the software again. Just make sure that our pedals are calibrated. So, device detection failed. Interesting. Cancel. Okay, now it is detecting it though. So maybe that was just a little... Okay, we can see the throttle, clutch, brake. When I'm braking... Oh. Not that I just pressed super hard and something moved. I think it's my ASR foot plate. I'm not delighted with how that how my pedal plates mount to that. I have had some rotation. So I pressed extra hard there and I felt something move, which is not ideal. I never had that with my P1X. So that's something to keep an eye on. Let's just do a quick calibration here. The clutch and throttle seem fine. Brake. I don't really want to press these brakes harder than maybe this. Set the max. There we go. That should do it. Okay, it feels like... So, I'm not happy with the brake. I haven't really done much driving yet, but I'm just not happy with that brake. I think we might be in the Hall effects mode and not the load cell mode. That's what it feels like. What's this graph? That graph seems very... Why is this graph narrower than the other graphs? That seems a little bit strange. Ah, sensor output. Okay, so there's a sensor output. I'm going to do a calibration here. Start the calibration. So click start calibration. Press down, completely press the pedal once, and then let it go. Calibration complete. All right, now it's going all the way. So that's a little bit better. But I want it on load cell. Why is this? Yeah, I want that more load cell experience. So it's not going by angle at all. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For me, definitely. Maybe it's habit. Some people prefer angle. Like if you're just doing like no hezzy, or if you're doing simple like dirt rally, the amount of brake you apply doesn't really matter as much because lockups aren't as big a thing in my experience. Then maybe the angle sensor is better. Load cell is a lot more work, but it's a far more authentic experience. But I think I might be limited by those spongy elastomers here. But let's see how we get on here. That should be, yeah, that's registering a little bit better now. Let's go out and have a lap. See how easy this thing is to control. Now, I do have to just specify here. I just took the Simtrex pedals off my rig. Quite possibly the best pedals I've had on the rig. Very close to the Mecha Evos. Absolutely excellent pedals. Yeah, oh. Those little pucks, I think are the issue that I'm feeling here, because I just hitting that brake feels pretty lifeless. Kind of feels like I don't know, it reminds me of a brake system that needs bleeding. It's like there's air in the system. Do you know that type of feeling? I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but I'm having to press it quite hard, where in reality, I'm having to press it quite far, It's almost like if you've ever tracked a road car, you know when the brakes get hot? That's what the brake feels like out of the box here. So I don't actually think that I'm going to be spending any time with them in this setting. I'm going to have to stiffen up that brake because it's just a little bit... I'm sure you can get used to it, but I feel like I'm having to do a lot of work just to try and find the feeling. So from a first impressions point of view, I'm having to do a lot of learning, which is not ideal. I'm not slow. I mean, this is the driving is going quite well. It's definitely not undrivable, and a lot of what I'm describing is a me issue rather than a pedals issue, because you know you drive as well as the equipment allows you to. I don't necessarily think... I don't think that these pedals will make me, even in this current state, much slower, but I just find the driving experience is not... it's just not doing it for me. Again, I have to put that into perspective, that I just came from a ridiculously expensive set of pedals that just so happen to be quite possibly the best pedals I've ever had. There, you can just see them over my shoulder here. So maybe there's a kind of an adjustment period needed, but I always find with any pedal set, and I had it with the Fanatec CSL Elite V2s, when you start using them, it should be an intuitive experience. I really feel like I feel like the foot's going to the floor here. I need to upgrade my brakes. That kind of feeling. Again, if you've ever driven a track car, if you've ever driven a road car on track, and you've come to the conclusion at the end of your track day that you need better brakes, that's what it feels like right now. There are elastomers, those little pucks. I got some of them with it, so I should be able to change the brake feel. But for now, first impressions, I'm definitely on the fence. Definitely on the fence. Now, that is just my opinion. That's not necessarily, you know, fact. But I'm not super keen on that. Let's try a slightly different driving experience. Let's grab something that's manual gears and see how it is for heel toe and stuff, just to get that bit of perspective. So we're going to give this a go. Front wheel drive Honda Civic, lots of gear shifting, should be a bit of fun. Now this is why I adjusted the in-game volume, because this car is pretty loud. There we go.
You have entered the potato zone.
Alright, let's do this. This feels very different to drive after the after the Formula Agile. Oh, front tires are cold. So heel towing so far going very nicely. I am flat shifting this car. Alright, that feels good. Maybe my braking, maybe this is because this is a road car, maybe my expectations of the braking are slightly different. Nearly blew my engine there. No front end grip. Really trying to push the brakes to the limit. Again here. Yeah, the throttle might just be a little bit, like I hinted at in the unboxing. The throttle might be, because you can't move them independently. It's a little bit of I'm kind of hitting the side of the pedal during heel toe, which is not ideal. I'm not sure how I'll fix that. Potentially by changing the pedal face angles, but I think the pedal face angles are nice as they are. I just wish I could move the throttle back a little bit, or the brake towards me a little bit, so that is a slight failing on the heel plate. It's not bad though. I'm definitely getting a better experience here than I did with the super hard braking Formula Agile. Yeah, I think I've seen enough anyway. I think I have enough to go into my summary here. So, summary on this. First impressions not as good as I'd like them to be quite honest. I don't necessarily think I'd be super slow with these or anything. There's a big adjustment there. Those elastomer kind of puck things, I'm not a huge fan. I feel that they make the braking experience a little bit lifeless. I felt that with the P1000s. So I'm kind of feeling that a little bit with these as well, which is a bit of a pity, but I haven't tried all the elastomers yet, so please take that with a grain of salt. The positioning of the pedals for heel toe, so the pedal faces are all flush with one another. I would love if the throttle was slightly, if I could move it just away from me slightly, because when you're on the brakes, your brake pedal is way beyond your throttle pedal, and if you want to do a quick blip of the throttle with the side of your foot as you do in heel toe, you really have to reach back with your foot. The throttle isn't where you like it to be, so that's a bit of a pity. The clutch is a surprise. The clutch is better than I thought it would be, so there's actually probably little or nothing that I would change on the clutch from a sim racing point of view. Is it the best feeling clutch I've ever had in sim racing? Definitely not. Is it good value at €110 for the clutch add-on? I think that's fine. These pedals are €450 plus the €110, so you're talking about €550 for the set of pedals. Puts them firmly in the kind of the mid-range of where pedals are. Do consider that the CSL Elite V2s are only €300, but the clutch and the throttle on these far better than the CSL Elite V2s. The brake on the CSL Elite V2s is definitely better though, out of the box at the very least. But I would be quite confident that it's gonna, I don't know, maybe I'll eat my words in the long-term review, but right now my first impression of the CSL Elite V2s was a lot better than this brake. I find this a little bit limp. It feels a little bit like a brake that needs to be bled. If you like a very soft brake, this might be perfect for you. I prefer a little bit more of a performance pad feel, where the slightest bit of a touch of the brake, it feels like it's already doing something. I feel with this, it's like, yeah, the elastomer stack just isn't quite there. Again, I might be able to sort that out with, the other elastomers, put in the hardest ones or whatever. That's probably the first thing that I'm going to do. After, I'll probably run it for a week like this. Then the first thing I'm going to do is try to run this pedal as hard as possible. I will be updating people in my Discord on how that's going as well. The base plate looks lovely. That mounting issue is a real pain though, because the mounting holes are at the 4 extreme corners, and you're talking about 35, maybe even 40 centimeters of a gap where you need to mount these, which is a huge amount of it's just a huge distance. Even the ASR Pro that I'm on right now doesn't natively allow you to mount like that, so I had to come up with a kind of a custom mounting solution where I have 2 mounting points in the center where they're not supposed to be. So I would always be worried about that a little bit. But the quality of the pedals, quality of everything, the finish is beautiful, really nice. It's exactly what we expect from Moza these days. I like that they've come away from that Fanatec style, you know, the Fanatec pedal style. I like that they've gone for the more modern sim racing style. Again, quite similar to a lot of the competitors, but yeah, I think the styling is a lot nicer now. I love those faceplates. They're very nice. They're very comfortable, both with and without shoes. I'm assuming the without shoes. I haven't used it without shoes yet, but they feel quite soft. So I have to be honest, in my first impressions videos, I only get one chance at giving you my first impressions. I've had first impressions videos in the past where I've had absolutely amazing experience, some lackluster. This one is slightly below the bar where I expect a set of €550 pedals to sit these days. Not that I'll necessarily be slower with them. I mean, the proof is going to be in the pudding. I've got some competitive races this week. I'm going to run them exactly like this. Can I make this pedal set really, really quick? You will find out in my final review, or you can join me live on stream 9 o'clock every Tuesday and Thursday. That's Irish UK time, 9 o'clock on my YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. You can ask me any questions you'd like then. If you do have these pedals already, please comment your experience in the chat below, in the comments below. And for now, I'm Lawrence. I'll chat to you later.